Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Invoked Dogmatika Shaddoll. So I have done an Invoked Shaddolls deck before, but I'd never actually included the Dogmatika engine in the past, simply because at the time I couldn't afford it, and at the time money was also kind of tight, so I was only able to make do with what I already had. But now that I pretty much got all the staples that I need for this deck, I figured, you know what, let me go and piece this deck together and finally give you guys a my own intake of the Invoked Shaddolls Dogmatika strategy. Now, one thing I do like is that this deck is like super flexible, this format. It is pretty menacing, especially with cards like Shaddoll Winda. Now, yeah, Flunderies basically can play around Winda, especially with cards, well, the fact that they basically tribute summon, not special summon, it can be a bit of a problem, especially with Lyrilusk also in the format. I had to kind of like adjust the strategy to where you can kind of help deal with those matchups. But thankfully, I do have something in mind and figured I'd share with you guys. And also, in case you guys already noticed, I did get myself the brand new IP Masquerade playmat. I was so excited when I got this, so I was thinking, you know what, this will be the perfect video for that because, you know, matching colors, it's all purple, and purple is one of my favorite colors. So anyway, let's go and get started. So main deck is 40 cards, starting with 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. Literally the only invoked monster, invoked main deck monster. So yeah, gotta run this at 3. It's searchable and it gives you access to Invocation. And thankfully, Invocation is a lot cheaper now that it got a max gold reprinting, so definitely get your hands on that if you haven't already. Moving on to the Shaddolls already, running 2 copies of Shaddoll Windy, so this is easily one of the best Shaddolls, special summons from deck, which is what I like. And yeah, basically it helps you get things started. And she's a wind attribute monster too, so that's pretty nice. Next, 2 Squamata. Since, you know, I do have to kind of like arrange the ratios, I can't run a bunch of 3 ofs in this deck. So you will be seeing a couple of 2 ofs. But 2 Squamata, it's your Foolish Burial. Double Hedgehog gets you access to your Shaddoll monsters and your spells and traps if you do the flip effect. And then for the 1 ofs, 1 Beast, 1 Dragon for back removal, and 1 Aerial. So these are basically my utility cards. I'm not running Genius simply because, I mean, there's just no reason to. But yeah, these 3 are definitely good because, again, they each have their own form of utility for this deck, and you definitely want to try to get some advantage or some value off of these as quickly as you can. And yeah. All right. And then for the Dogmatika monsters, I am running 1 of each. So 1 Ecclesia, 1 Floor, and 1 Maximus. Maximus is still pretty good because, you know, it helps you dump Titaniclad. That way you can use Titaniclad to get your access Floor. And yeah, Floor is just really good for disruption. So, and he's huge, so why not, right? But yeah, and what's also really cool about the Dogmatikas is that they're lights. Yeah, you do get locked into out of your extra deck once you, especially if you use Ecclesia and Maximus. But honestly, once you get your combos going ahead of time, you should be fine. And these guys usually help out during the next turn. So that's one of the cool things about the Dogmatika package by itself. So yeah. All right. For hand traps, I am running 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is still pretty good this format. I wanted to play the Gamma package, but I kind of bricked a lot with it, and honestly, I just like Veiler a little bit more. And the fact that it's not once per turn, it's a light monster that you can banish off of Invocation later on. It comes up a lot too. And Ash Blossom being a fire monster, you know, gets you Purgatrio later on down the road too. So if you just want to like flat out OTK your opponent, these cards are basically one of the best ones to go with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for those. All right, so now we're moving on to spells. For spells, I'm running 3 copies of Magical Meltdown, naturally, because you want to get access to your Alistair the Invoker as quickly as possible. And also, your opponent cannot negate your fusion summons, so yeah, Meltdown is pretty unfair in that regard. 1 Terraforming, so you're technically playing this at 4. And of course, 2 copies of Invocation to complete the Invoke package. 3 Nadir Servant to, you know, just to help you establish your Dogmatika lineup. And then for the Shaddoll cards, 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion because it's broken. Only 1 copy of Shaddoll Fusion simply because the Shaddoll package is a little small and you don't really want to see this too much because this is more of a going second deck. But keep in mind, you are capable of going first, especially with the Invoke package. So when going first, that's the package you want to try to enable the most, and then kind of get your Shaddoll package ready for next turn, especially during your opponent's turn to lock them up with the Shaddoll window. So basically, this deck can kind of go either or. I do go first a lot with this deck regardless, but again, like with the Shaddoll Fusion being the going second card, like you're kind of prepared on both situations is something I should probably say. Moving on, 2 copies of Triple T because I only own the 2, And of course, the one called by the grave, because, you know, I don't want to get hand trapped. For traps, I'm running 3 of them. Running 1 Dogmatika punishment, you know, just to help clear something off the field, and it's just a good disruption. Plus, you get added value to it too if you send one of your extra deck monsters to the grave, like App Clone or even Intest. So like it's just like more additional removal. 1 Shaddoll Incarnation, just to, you know, like is it good for follow-up play, and also if you're going first, you know, you can send this off of Construct and just kind of do the basic combo where you get access to your Schism right away, which actually comes to our next card, 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism. And that pretty much completes our main deck. Alright, so now we're moving on to the extra deck. For my extra deck, I am running 2 copies of Shaddoll Construct. Definitely one of the best ones. Dumps anything to the grave and recycles your Shaddoll spells or traps. 2 App Clone. If it's sent to the grave, you can add a Shaddoll monster from your deck or your graveyard back to your hand, but you have to discard a card. Keep in mind, discarding is not cost, so this can trigger off one of your Shaddoll monsters. And also, next card, also it can't be destroyed in battle. But if you do happen to summon this later down the road, you can permanently negate the effect of 1 card on the field. So it does target, but again, it's just a good way to deal with like floodgates, and it's just like makes them dead entirely. So yeah, App Clone, it actually has a lot of utility and just like really comes in clutch when you really need it. And of course, 2 copies of Shaddoll Winda, definitely the best Shaddoll in the entire fusion lineup, in my opinion, because, you know, again, it's a floodgate. Your opponent can only special summon 1 monster, and it also affects you too, but honestly, that really shouldn't be a problem, because yeah, it's window. Why not? For the invokes, 1 copy of Mikaba, you know, Omni Negate, and it banishes 2. 1 Purgatrio, because, you know, it can attack everything and it gains attack points. I am running 1 copy of Invoked Raijin, simply because, again, Lyrilisk is into format, and they do tend to lock you out with that barrier statue thing. And also the fact that it's also a Book of Moon. I mean, yeah, Raijin is it's definitely something not to scoff at. So, and you actually can make this fairly easily, because again, Windy is a wind monster, and I'm also running Droll and Lockbird on the side, spoiler. So yeah, Raijin actually is pretty good this format. And of course, 1 copy of Invoked Agoides, which I'm pretty sure I butchered the name again. So if this card is special summon, or monster is a special summon to your opponent's side of the field, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. And also, once per turn, you can banish 1 fusion monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack points equal to that monster's attack points. So it's pretty good, you know, just to, you know, get over something that's pretty big. But overall, it's really just good for disruption. Moving on, 1 copy of Titanic Clad, because you're going to send this off of Maximus along with Intess. So yeah, just to, you know, clear something out. But sometimes you send Titanic Clad and App Clone together. So like it really depends on what the situation is when you basically use these 2. And then for my links, I'm only running 3 links. 1 Artemis, 1 Gravity Controller, because, you know, it's Neospatian Grandmal basically. And last but not least, 1 Verity Anaconda. Unfortunately, I didn't have room for Dragoon, but honestly, you don't really need Dragoon in this deck. So yeah, that's why I decided not to run it this time around. So yeah. All right. Now for the side deck, I'm running 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, as I stated before. Pretty good against any search heavy deck, so yeah, definitely take advantage of it. 3 Token Collector for the Sword Soul matchups. If I'm dealing with, like, again, the Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk matchup, you know, because they are going to try to lock you out, or just any deck that has like a bunch of Omni Negates, Dark Ruler no more. For back row heavy strategies, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, double evenly matched, and of course 1 copy of Red Reboot. I mean, I think at this point this is basically a must-have in everybody's side deck. And I already mentioned Cosmic Cyclone being really good this format, especially because of the Destroy Phoenix Artifact Scythe combo. So yeah, definitely take advantage. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys again next time.